Okay, The Veil. Now, there's multiple 2016 films that came out that are called The Veil. This one is the horror mystery based upon a documentary film team going to look at the site of a mass suicide of a religious cult. Person leading this expedition is Jessica Alba, who does a pretty good job. Of course, what makes this film really work is Thomas Jane is the cult leader. Such a good job. So of course they find the one survivor and then bring her back 25 years later. And what makes this film kind of work is the fact that they're talking about stuff in the present and they're like, oh, we found these old tapes. Then they watch the old tapes to fill in gaps from the beginning of the film. And then the weird kind of supernatural stuff kind of starts happening. This, of course, is more of a more Blumhouse sort of film. If you've seen one, you kind of get an idea of the supernatural style that they're going to go with. They do a decent amount in the way of some prosthetics here and there. The resolution is decent. Nothing groundbreaking. This isn't going to, entirely change the spectrum the way you look at horror films. Jessica Alba is okay. There are other large revelations that feel like they should have been these big, like, da-da-da moments, but they come off kind of like, oh, okay. Is that going to lead into the... No? Oh. It's kind of just thrown in there. It's like a ha-ha. Big revelation. Do you feel it? Oh. Not really? Okay. Well, the film's going to keep on going. And it does have what I would call a false ending. And by that I mean it feels like you're like, oh, okay, not a bad end. Oh, there's more. Okay. Oh, that's not bad. So for a direct-to-DVD film, this is actually... It's watchable. It's nothing that's amazing. It's decent. It's watchable. It's understandable. There are some unique directions of taking a pretty well-worn, survivor goes back to location of said traumatic event. Place is haunted. The following things play out in a very sequential order. So the twists and turns are oh, okay. End up being the advantage of doing a lot of the flashbacks. So what you see going on in the current time is decent, but the flashbacks, that's where this film is actually really good. It almost makes you wish that they would have focused more on the flashback portion and done that for the film, and then had the documentary film crew show up afterwards. Like they done all the flashback sequences first to really fully establish it, and then been like, 25 years later, leave out a couple of spots here and there, then they'd be like 25 years later, and then have the characters kind of get the revelation from someone telling them, here's what happened, and then this, instead of you find out and the characters find out simultaneously. Because sometimes you're like, oh, okay, different, and then the way you respond to it, the way the people who are in the film respond to it, if they don't feel fully congruent, it really kind of wrecks the flow of the film. But unique film, interesting film. If you want to add it to your Netflix queue, it's worth a spot. Is it something I would say pay money for? Thomas Jane as a religious cult leader is really good. He does a great job at that. I probably made his part a little bit larger, and Jessica Alba's part probably reduced that a little bit, because it feels like while that should be the big gravitas moment, it doesn't. A lot of it felt more like, okay, what's Thomas Jane's character gonna do? because he pulls off charismatic nut job really well.